ConsumerAssist Digital POS. So what you're looking at now is the main introduction screen to a member when they're invited into the application experience. And this is extremely flexible in terms of branding, color scheme, font style, narrative content, screen design. This has this kind of geometrical design going on. If you didn't like that, there's probably 40 or 50 different screen layouts that can be activated. You can embed video. So if you wanted a tutorial video or a promotional video, you can control background images. So if you wanted background images to update seasonally or with certain holidays. And there's multiple ways a borrower can be directed into the digital POS. A loan officer can trigger an invitation via email or text. They can have an apply now button on their email signature that will direct them into their application experience. And then, like the example I gave you before, if it was interactive with our APIs behind online banking, you can also inject them into it. But again, it's going to have some initial introduction to the member and then ask them to get started. And they get started by creating a password. And then it's going to present to them the transaction options available to them. I just had purchase and refinance turned on. This is really, again, up to you. If you were doing construction loans, there'd be a construction panel. If you were doing home equity loans, you can have a home equity panel. This is also designed to support omni-channel lending. So if our customer is using another system for fulfilling automobile loans or student loans or new account opening, but they wanted to align their member experience across all products, our API and webhook infrastructure could be used to interact with those backend systems that fulfill the non-mortgage products and align the user experience for all of your members. I'm just going to go ahead and do a purchase. And then it's going to take me into my personal profile information. What's my date of birth? What's my social? How would I like to be communicated with or want to receive email messages, text alerts, phone calls? Have I selected a property? If so, what type of property? What's the intended use? What's the address? And this is all tied in with Google location services. So if you start typing an address, it'll start showing you addresses in the immediate area, so the member can just select and not have to key all the information. What's the transaction detail? And it doesn't matter if they put in down payment amount, down payment percent, loan amount, it'll just reverse calculate everything. And then is it individual, joint, married, separated, unmarried? If it's joint married, it does allow the applicant to complete the application on behalf of their spouse, or they can invite their spouse into the application so they can complete their own information. If it's joint unrelated, it only allows the borrower to enter the unrelated co-borrower or borrower's name, email, cell number. Will send the co-borrower an email and text invitation into the application, take them through their own application process, and restrict PII between unrelated co-borrowers. And you can do that with multiple sets of borrowers. So for example, if you have a husband and wife purchasing a second home with another husband and wife, each husband and wife can collaborate on their application, but the personal information is restricted between both related pairs. And then it has different questions and question prompts. And again, the question flow, how questions are asked, again, you can control all of that as well. It's very flexible. So if you did VA loans, this would be turned on so you can capture the information to determine entitlement eligibility. If you didn't do VA loans, this would be turned off. You can also invite the borrower to link their real estate agent. So if the borrower enters the realtor contact information, hits next, a little authorization appears, they hit accept. It invites the realtor into the realtor portal. If the realtor already has credentials to the portal based on the email address entered, it'll notify the realtor that a new application's been added to their dashboard, where the realtor can also collaborate in the loan process. The realtor portal is pretty basic. Obviously, all the PII is restricted, but they can see where the loan is in the process. They can get automated email and text alert updates. They can see conditions that are assigned to them. They can also action the conditions in the portal. If they're not working with a real estate agent, you can get authorization to refer them to a real estate agent. And then what's my current housing history? If I own, it'll expand, ask for all my housing expense detail information. What's my disposition intent? If I rent, what's the address? How long have I lived there? And what's my rent amount? And then it's going to ask me if I own any additional properties. If I do, it'll expand so I can get all the additional real estate owned detail information. I'm just going to say no and next. So now I've completed my personal profile information. I'm transitioning from personal profile into verifying information. There's a couple things that can occur here. You can have a soft credit pull, you can have a tri-merge, you can have AUS run, and you can distinguish what's presented to the applicant based on the loan attributes and the results of that information. Because once you start getting into first-party data sourcing and directly verifying information, there's cost events associated with that. So you can create kind of guardrails and rules around what's presented based on the specific loan profile. So for example, if it's a 95 LTV and a 580 credit score, that's going to be a tough loan. You probably don't want to present first-party data sourcing and have that cost event occur on that type of loan attribute. But if I go in, it doesn't matter what order these items are in, that can be shuffled, but we can verify electronically. You can enter manually. If I verify electronically, it'll display a subset of institutions. So let's say I have an account at Citi. I can just enter that. Now we're going directly, enter my user ID and password. Now we're going directly out to Citi, and we're sourcing all the account holder detail, transaction history, account balances, as well as the D1C token. So when AUS is updated, you get the associated asset waiver. We're also looking at the data, the transaction data, and we're automatically conditioning for verification of any large deposits. If I want to add additional account, I can just hit add. If it's not one of the primary views, I can just start typing and look for my institution. Let's say it's RBC. Again, I can just grab that and it'll pull in that institution as well. I can also add asset accounts manually. Now, if I enter an asset account manually, the system will automatically condition for the documentation to verify that account. So I'm going to say I'm finished with assets, and now it's going to bring me into my income section. What is my source or sources of income? I'm going to say I'm employed. Who's my employer? Title, start date, how long in that line of work, what's the address, phone, and then what's my salary, and then is there any commission, bonus, overtime? If so, what are those amounts? And then this is another one of those question prompts that's going to drive additional conditioning on the loan. This is trying to determine if it's a non-arm's length transaction. And I'm just going to say, no, I'm done. And then this is Equifax work number. So this will automatically ping work number. If it gets a work number hit, it will automatically return employment and income verification as well as the D1C token. So again, when AUS is updated, you get the associated employment and income waiver. If it doesn't get a work number hit, which this will not because it's a bogus Social Security number, it will automatically condition for the documentation to support the employment and income. And then it's going to take me into my government monitoring information. If I answer yes to any of these, it will prompt me for an explanation, place an explanation letter in loan, can also drive additional conditioning. So for, like in this case, if they say, yes, I'm obligated to pay alimony, child support, separate maintenance, you can have that automatically add a condition. Please provide your alimony, child support, separation, things like that. And then my demographic information. And then next. So now it's evaluating the loan to make sure I completed all the required information. If I missed anything, it's going to highlight it here in red and tell me what I didn't complete. So since I said it was a purchase and I identified a property, it asked if I was under contract. If I select that, it'll take me right to that question. I'm going to say yes. So now the system is automatically going to condition for a copy of the purchase agreement. It's going to give me a summary of everything I completed and verified so far. If I need to edit anything, I can go directly into that section to edit it or back into the wizard. And then any acknowledgments, agreements, disclaimers you want to display, and then apply now. Now, there's a couple other activities that can occur here that I actually have turned off in this build just out of interest of time. But you can also have product eligibility and pricing and product selection occur. You can also have the system auto-disclose to the borrower. All the fees are automated in our system, so fees automatically apply to loans. MI calls are automatically made if it's an MI loan. If it's a government loan, upfront monthly MIP is automatically calculated and applied. The idea is that when the member completes the application experience, the idea is you have a complete application, that credit AUS has been run, it's been disclosed. Hopefully they participated in first-party data verification, and you have some verified assets and verified employment. It's been conditioned, and hopefully they've submitted some documentation to satisfy some of the loan conditions.